Hey guys, it's Timmy, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as it is February 19th, 2020. We're here to talk about AEW Dynamite. I actually really enjoyed tonight's show. I thought the show was really good. It was from the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. I do see some people saying that they only thought it was a 5 out of 10. I don't agree with that. I think it was like at least 7.5, if not an 8. To be completely honest, I really enjoyed tonight's AEW Dynamite. But with that, if you guys do want to give me your thoughts on the show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. You can also put your messages in the live chat via a super chat. Super chat donations help us out tremendously, and they make sure your questions do get read in the live chat. Again, you could text us 510-906-1341 or send us a super chat in the live chat. But with that, let's see who's here with us tonight. We do have Henry Cavallo, Kristen McNutt, Ruben Rodriguez. We've also got Dexter Myers, Dontrell Bailey, Javi Arms, Nelson. Who else is here with us? Scrolling through the chat. King Slender, Derek Bocek, Sinclair Saturday, Jack Dawson, Eric Tate, George John Cox, Jason Dalton, and so many more of you. And if you're ever in our live chat and you see people like the great Jason Dalton or Dontrell Bailey or Kristen McNutt, and you say, hey, why are their names green? Why do they have a little badge? How do they use emojis? Well, that is because they are PWUnlimited member subscribers right here on YouTube. As a member subscriber, your name is highlighted in green. You've got an emoji next to your name, and, well, you get to use emojis. You got a badge next to your name, I should say, and you get to use emojis in the live chat. All you have to do to become a member subscriber is go down there where it says subscribe. There's another button that says join. Click that button. There's two different ways you can become a member subscriber. For $1.99, you can become a donation subscriber. But if you go to the $4.99 tier, then that gives you the early access to a lot of our stuff we're coming out with. I am working on a new season of something you guys have been asking for, and a couple other things. So with that, again, we do greatly appreciate everybody that is a member subscriber. As you see, also if you're a member subscriber, during our Raw, AEW, NXT, and SmackDown reviews, and sometimes pay-per-view reviews, your name will scroll across the bottom of the screen just to show our appreciation for you guys who are supporting us here at PW Unlimited. But enough of that. Let's talk about tonight's AEW Dynamite. Again, like I stated, tonight's AEW Dynamite came to us from the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was a stacked, and I mean stacked, show. So the show kicked off like immediately. Come on the air. I popped the show on like a minute late because I couldn't get, for some reason, the stream to go because I used the TNT app. And it wouldn't load up at first. So I got into there like 5:01, maybe 5:02, and the Battle Royal was already going. And that Battle Royal was a tag team Battle Royal where the winners moved on to Revolution to challenge the tag team champions. Well, we'll tell you who they are. Well, I'll just tell you now. It's Omega and Page. They won their tag team title match tonight. But this match, I thought it was okay. It was a Battle Royal, but there were some cool things in it. Jack Evans was tossed out first. Private Party hit T-Hawk with the silly string and threw him out. SCU was then distracted by the Dark Order's spokesman. I don't know his name, though. He was there with Evil Uno. They were in the front row. And because they were distracted, they were eliminated by Reynolds and Silver. Dark Order's spokesman said the Exalted One is coming and told SCU, take note, that Chris Daniels, well, he's not here with you tonight. They then showed Raven in the crowd for what it's worth. And I know one website already tried posting, maybe Raven's the Exalted One. I don't fucking think he is. I honestly don't know why Raven was there. Raven was just chilling in the second row. And I really don't think that was a tease of him being the Exalted One. They want us to think it's Christopher Daniels. And to be completely honest, I think it may end up being Christopher Daniels because how much they're teasing us. Because how much they're teasing it makes you think it's not. And then in the end, it might be. We'll see. We'll see. So after the Dark Orders, Reynolds and Silver eliminated SCU, the Bucks then super kicked them out of the ring. Luchasaurus hit a pump kick and eliminated Chima. Butcher tossed Nick Jackson. So this is different. I gotta say, this is different than like WWE's, what's it called, tag team battle royals. When WWE does it, and I've seen, I think, Impact do it the same way as well. When one member of the team is eliminated, both members are eliminated. But in this one, it was once one person's eliminated, they go to the back, their team's still in it if there are other guys there. And that's what happened here with Nick Jackson getting eliminated, but Matt was still in it. Santana Ortiz then eliminated Private Party. Luchasaurus eliminated Angelico. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus got tossed out next. Orange Cassidy then saved Trent. Trent was tossed out, but Orange Cassidy caught him on his shoulders. Chucky T and Blade got thrown out. The final five were Matt Jackson, Trent, Butcher, Santana, and Ortiz. So you're thinking, okay, Santana and Ortiz got the advantage because they could still work together. Matt and Trent did the best friends hug spot. Crowd popped major for this. Butcher then tossed Trent. Matt hit a spear to Butcher through the ropes, eliminating him. Which, weird, it's through the ropes. You would think it's over the ropes, but again, we're used to WWE rules. This is in WWE. So it was Matt versus Santana and Ortiz, the final three. You think Matt done. Matt then hit a double Northern Lights suplex, but he got cut off. Santana and Ortiz hit a street sweeper. Matt hit a super kick to Santana, a super kick to an interfering Sammy Guevara, and then super kicked Ortiz as he finally eliminated Proud and Powerful to pick up the victory. Nick Jackson ran back down to celebrate with his brother as they are moving on to Revolution to challenge for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Excuse me. Give me 1 second. Okay, never mind. I thought this was a fun Battle Royal. I didn't think it was anything like great. Like if you missed it, oh well. But for what it was, I thought it was fun. So next up we got Chris Statlander and Shanna with Britt Baker on commentary. And I don't know if I liked the way they did Britt Baker and Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone to me, correct me if you think I'm wrong. Kristen, I did mention Raven already. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or if you think I'm wrong. But I don't like how Tony Schiavone seems almost scared of Britt Baker now. Like, she would say something, she'd be like, right, Tony? He'd go, oh, yeah, correct, doctor. Or she would say something, he goes, oh, yeah, the doctor's right. Like, almost like a guy that's scared, so he's got to agree with everything she says so she doesn't hurt him. I didn't like that, to be completely honest. This match began very slow. They traded holds early. They went through a commercial break, still working the holds. I think it was like 6 minutes before we even saw a bump. The pace picked up after the break. Statlander hit a Blue Thunder bomb for a near fall. Shanna hit the ropes and hit a top rope Rana and a DDT for a 2. Shanna then hit a low kick for another near fall. Britt Baker kept going on about, I didn't see any of this, but Britt Baker kept going on about how Shanna has been stalking her on Twitter and that she wasn't prepared, I guess you can say, for Chris Statlander because she was too worried with Britt Baker on Twitter. I guess I didn't see any of that. The finish of the match then came kind of out of nowhere. Shanna tried a tornado DDT. Statlander caught her and hit her with the Big Bang Theory for the victory. So I guess, this is an okay match. And Britt Baker was okay on commentary. I just didn't like the whole Tony Schiavone agreeing with everything she said, almost seeming like he's scared of her. Crystal Big Dad, yes, I know about Nick Jackson's little gimmick thing on being the elite. What does that have to do with anything we've talked about so far here? I don't get what that ties into anything I've mentioned about tonight's Dynamite. It's just a BTE thing. I don't even like BTE, to be completely honest. I think BTE is campy, too over the top, and middle school level comedy that's not that good to me. Like, I honestly don't like BTE. I'm just going to say it. I said it already. I'm going to say it again. I don't like BTE. I don't find it funny. I don't find it that amusing, to be 100% completely honest. A video then played highlighting last week's women's title match with Nyla Rose beating Riho for the belt. Then they said Nyla will be speaking tonight, next actually, after the break. Luke Patki with the Super Chat donation. He said the Young Bucks winning the Battle Royal was totally booking themselves to the top. Incorrect. Them winning the Battle Royal is continuing the story that they're doing with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. And I actually like that story. Hangman Page is a guy that's been down in the dumps, kind of depressed. So because of that, he's been drinking. The Young Bucks have tried to get him out of his funk. Omega has tried to get him out of his funk. Surprisingly, Omega and Hangman win the tag titles. Then, the Bucks become challengers. The Bucks want the titles, but at the same time, they want to help their friend, but their friend doesn't want help. So in the end, maybe what they have to do to help him, to knock the sense out of him, is beat him. I honestly don't think it's them booking themselves to the top, because if you're going to say that, then you could say the same thing about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega booked himself as a champion? No. To be 100% honest, that was all Tony Khan. A lot of this Hangman stuff and him and Kenny getting put together and whatnot, that's a Tony Khan idea. That is Tony Khan, not the Bucks, not Kenny Omega booking all that or anything. No, that is a Tony Khan idea. Most of this Hangman drunk stuff or drinking beer stuff, Tony Khan. Gregory Benson with the Super Chat donation. I appreciate it. He says, I've got money set on Mox defeating Jericho. What do you think, Tim? I think 80% chance, maybe even 90% chance that Moxley does win the title. It's got to happen. I mean, Jericho's got to lose the belt eventually. Jericho's had the belt for what? September, October, November, December, January, February. By the end of the month, it would be 6 months. I think that's a perfect length for the first champion. Maybe he can beat him. Something happens, and they get another match at Double or Nothing. I wouldn't like to see that, but maybe something happens in this match where it garners another match in May at Double or Nothing, and then Moxley wins the belt there. But I could honestly 100% say that, well, not 100%, 80 to 90% say that I think Moxley wins the belt, and I think that's the right move to do. I think that is the honest God right thing to do, is put that belt on Moxley. You've built him up as the perfect challenger. Like Cody was built up as an okay challenger. We knew Cody wouldn't win the belt, not just because, he's EVP, doesn't want to put stuff over, but it's the first challenger. Jericho's not going to lose his belt that quick to the first challenger. But now, like I said, that it's been 6 months since Jericho won that title, I think he's prime and ready to drop it. And Moxley is the perfect person for that crowd, for any crowd really, to go ape shit bananas when he beats Jericho and then shows up that next week on Dynamite with the belt. I think Moxley wins the belt. It's the only move you really got. Like I said, eventually Moxley needs to have that belt. He needs to beat Jericho, and I can see them pushing it off to Double or Nothing, but I don't want them to push it off to Double or Nothing, if that all makes sense. So next up, Tony Schiavone interviewed Nyla Rose. She came down and healed up the crowd. She got mad because of the way he introduced her. She says she's the queen bee in this hive. No one can stack up to her. She says she's going to be a one-time champion because she's never going to lose her belt. She said nobody can step to her. And out would come Chris Statlander and Big Swole. Statlander pointed at Rose's title. Swole got in Rose's face, and they did a pull apart while Statlander just stood there. Swole and Statlander, I think, have a ton of potential. Statlander is the number 2 ranked right now. She may go up to number 1 because Britt Baker didn't have a match this week. I don't know if she wrestled on Dark or not. But Swole's unranked, so I don't see why they had her come out. That makes no sense with her not being ranked at all. But I can see maybe they do. I can honestly see at Revolution a triple threat maybe. Chris Statlander, Britt Baker, Nyla Rose for the title. Sinclair Saturday, I think Nia's better than Nyla Rose, to be completely honest. We then got a Jeff Cobb video package, kind of introducing him to the fans because we learned that. Next up, Cobb and Moxley. Gregor Benson says, what about Karshida being number 1? Is she number 1? I didn't check the rankings this morning, so I don't know. Let's go check those really fast. I can look that up. Let's go AEW rankings. All Elite Wrestling. And the rankings are as such. Got them right here. Bum, 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 bum. If it wants to load. Let's see. Who is the number 1 ranked female in All Elite Wrestling? And it is... It doesn't... So right now, the rankings for the women's division are such. Riho is ranked number 1 at 3-1. Chris Statlander at 1-1. Hikaru Shida at 2-1. Yuka Sakazaki at 1-0. And Britt Baker at 1-2. That's your top 5 contenders. So, I mean, they've got time to, I think Chris Statlander gets one more win. If she gets one more win, she'll tie Riho for number 1. If Britt gets 2 more wins, she will also tie. Maybe Riho loses a match. They can figure this out. They've got a week. They've got, I don't know what happened, like I said, on Dark. And they've got next week's Dark and Dynamite to figure it all out. So I can see it happening. Maybe they go Chris Statlander. I just don't see why Big Swole, how that made any sense when she's not even ranked in the top 5. But going forward, Taz joined commentary for the next match, which was Jon Moxley and Jeff Cobb. Taz was the best guy on commentary here. I've always thought Taz was a tremendous, amazing, great commentator, all the way back to when he started on SmackDown back in the day with Michael Cole. I thought Taz was good in the ring, but I thought he was phenomenal and is still as a commentator. So we got Jon Moxley versus Jeff Cobb. I thought this match was all kinds of fun. Cobb hit an overhead throw early and then a drop kick. Taz talked about how he's an Olympic-level grappler, but at the same time, he does stuff that you wouldn't think somebody of his size can do. They exchanged strikes on the floor, then Cobb slammed Moxley face first into the ring steps. Moxley rolled inside, then hit a dive. Cobb hit a series of clubbing forearm shots. During a commercial break, Cobb sent Moxley over the barricade, where Jericho stomped him and hit him with a title belt. After the break, Moxley went back on working on Cobb's leg. I liked how Taz really put over the fact that, so in most matches, when you see someone work over the leg, it's because the guy's a high flyer. So you say, oh, I don't want him to be able to fly. They got to ground him. But in this case, it was Cobb's strength. The way he does his throws, he plants himself with his legs and then does his throws. If the leg is weak, he can't plant him to get as much power. He can't plant himself to get as much power. I like the way Taz explained that. Cobb then responded with a tour of the islands. Cobb covered Moxley, but picked him up before the 3. Bad move there, buddy boy. Moxley tried to dive off the post to the floor. Cobb caught him and hit him with an overhead belly-to-belly on the floor. Moxley blocked a tour of the islands. Cobb blocked a paradigm shift. To finish this, saw Cobb hit a superplex. Moxley trapped Cobb's leg on the landing and rolled him into a cradle to get the surprise victory. So I like the way the victory came. Cobb hits a big move. Big old superplex off the top rope. Moxley then rolls it into a cradle, catches him, steals the victory kind of deal. So, yeah, Moxley picks up the win. Cobb looks good. It wasn't like Cobb got beat with Moxley's move. They made it so Cobb still looks strong even in defeat. So after the bell, Jake Hager, Jericho, Sammy Guevara, they jump into the ring. They help Cobb beat down Moxley. Dustin Rhodes then comes down to try to make the save. He fell victim to a numbers game. The lights go out. And I like how the lights go out, but not all the video boards go out. And then they finally go out. And I think it was Excalibur goes, it just got darker, uh-oh. and then out would come Darby Allin. Darby came out on stage to an amazing reaction from the crowd here in Atlanta, Georgia. He rode a skateboard down to the ring, brought the skateboard into the ring, and hit all the members of the Dark Order, not the Dark Order, the Inner Circle with it. When everything cleared, only two left in the ring, Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho. Moxley and Jericho then traded some strikes, and then Jericho bailed. This was very effective. I thought this was very effective leading up to their match at the pay-per-view. Chris McNutt says, why was Austin Aries there backstage? He'd been hanging out with DDP. Yesterday, he was with DDP doing some DDP yoga. Today, he showed up at the building with DDP. That's all it was. He wasn't there. As far as I know, he was just there with DDP visiting. I don't know if they talked to him. I don't know if they're trying to sign him. From all I know, it wasn't a business thing. It could have ended up a business thing, but initially he wasn't brought there for business. He was there with DDP because he'd been hanging out with DDP. So we then get the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, defending and retaining their titles against the Lucha Bros, Pentagon, and Phoenix. I thought this was a great match. Yeah, I doubled it. Double great match. Charles Brown says, is he a free agent? Yes. I don't believe that Austin Aries is signed with anybody. I know he's done stuff most recently with MLW, but I don't believe they signed him officially. So Page and Omega established the early advantage here using a series of tandem moves. The illegal man interfered liberally. Omega hit a Guitar Crusher and a You Can't Escape, aided by a standing shooting star press from Page. Pentagon and Phoenix began making a comeback before the commercial break. After the commercial, it was Page and Omega back in front, until Phoenix hit a tornado to Page and Pentagon hit a destroyer to Omega. Pentagon and Phoenix then kept on the offense. Phoenix ran the ropes and kicked Omega on the apron. Pentagon teased a pile driver on the apron, but Omega blocked it. Phoenix hit a Rana out of the ring on the floor to Omega. Page then hit a dive off the post to Phoenix. Incredible sequence here. Page then hit a pop-up powerbomb to Pentagon. Omega hit the V-trigger. Page tried the buckshot lariat, and Pentagon moved. Page hit Omega. There was a great tease for the implosion that we all know is coming. We all know that eventually Omega and Page are going to just burst and face each other. Phoenix then hit a tornado to the floor on Page. Pentagon hit a Pentadriver on Omega, only got a 2. Omega was left to face both Pentagon and Phoenix at this point with Page down on the floor. Omega hit a V-trigger, kneeing Phoenix out of the air. This was great. Phoenix goes for a dive off the top rope. Omega jumps, hits him with a knee. Phoenix is just dead. Dead. The finish then saw Omega and Page hit Phoenix with a combination V-trigger, buckshot lariat. Page covered and pinned Phoenix. So Pentagon, Phoenix, they lose. Omega, Page retain the titles. And then out would come their challengers, the Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. So they help Omega to his feet, and Page gets mad. He's like, what are you doing? Why are you helping him? Kenny, come with me. Matt Jackson then pulls Kenny his way. And finally, Matt, Nick, they look at Kenny. Page gets out of the ring. Kenny thanks the Bucks for coming down. He goes to thank Page, but Page is gone. Page then grabs a beer from a fan. He then yells, give me another one. And if another fan gives him a beer, Page gives no shits about backwash. That's one thing you got to say, because he downs these beers. He doesn't care about these fans' backwash. So, we'll see how this goes. I think this is going to be a really good match at the pay-per-view at Revolution. I think both teams are going to work their asses off to put on the best match possible. And we'll see if the drinking storyline of Hangman Page plays into the match at all. So a video package then played highlighting the upcoming AEW action figures produced by Wicked Toys. It's called, I have it right here. They are called, actually, let me pull up the image. I have the image right here, in case you guys did not see it. I have the images. Why are they not showing? So AEW basically, not basically, but they have their first ever toy line. Actually, let me just pull up the tweet. It'll be easier that way. I was going to put this... let's try this. And I think they look really good. I think the toys look great. I think whoever... The Wicked Toys or whatever they're called, I think they did a really good job on creating these toys. Let's pull up the images. I got 3 of the images right here. So as we see... Transition this over here. You've got right here the Chris Jericho, the Matt Jackson, the Nick Jackson, the Kenny Omega, and the Cody with his sledgehammer and his gear from Double or Nothing. In the video that they played, Cody said the internet's going to go crazy over the sledgehammer. Now, in the press release that AEW sent out, I think they announced more names for toys, for the toy line. They stated that, I know we're getting a Brandy because they showed that in the video. They said the first line is called AEW Unrivaled. The toys will feature Chris Jericho, Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, and others. So I would assume the others, of course, we don't see Jon Moxley here. We don't see Brandy here. But I would assume maybe an MJF as well. Maybe a Britt Baker. Maybe. Just speculating. They're going to unveil all of them at the New York Toy Fair, which I think is this weekend. So once we get more images and stuff, these are just the images that they put out today. I don't know why this one looks all messed up, but I think they look cool. I think they look really good. They're done by Wicked Toys. So we'll see. They didn't give a price point yet as far as how much each figure is going to cost, how much the ring is going to cost. So we'll see once they do get announced officially, like prices and all that. Maybe we get that this weekend. Maybe we don't. I don't know. But with that, let me know what you guys think of the AEW action figure line coming out relatively soon. All it said was coming in 2020. Strong Style Ninja says they need an Orange Cassidy one. Holy crap. That one would sell. So Cody said last week or earlier this week in his media conference call that they are just completely flabbergasted by the number of merch Orange Cassidy sells. So to be completely honest, I don't know how early in development the figures were. Like if Orange Cassidy would have been thought about early enough. I know MJF was because he posted a photo of him doing the head scan. So if they don't do an Orange Cassidy in this line, they have to do one in the next line because it will sell out easily. Henry Cavalli says, honestly, don't care about these action figures. Now, if they made a video game, I would get interested. Omega said they're working on a game. Omega said that he's got a team working on a video game. I don't know when they're going to announce anything. He wanted KIA to make the game, which is the people that made the old No Mercy game. So we'll see. We'll see when they can announce video game stuff. Like I said, Kenny said back in, I think, November, December, it's being worked on. He has a team working on it. He just can't say anything yet. So then we got a video package recapping everything with the Cody and MJF feud. They also told us that Pac and Omega next week in a 30-minute Iron Man match. Best Friends versus the Butcher and the Blade. And we learned what's it called? Oh, I just lost my train of thought. A weigh-in for Jericho Moxley next week as well. So then they showed the cage. The cage was set up, and it's interesting because in every wrestling company I've seen, the cage comes down and it sits on the apron. But not this cage. This cage comes down and it sits on the floor around the ring. It's also got these huge scaffolding pillars, kind of like you would see. You've seen WWE do this when they do their shark cage stuff, kind of similar. You've seen Impact use the same kind of pillars, scaffolding pillars, for the Ultimate X. And I loved the cage because it doesn't look like another cage in wrestling. It looks like just something that is a big deal. And here is my 2 takeaways from this match. With it being the first ever cage match, I really think and wish they would have tried to get this non-commercial. I don't know if they tried it and TNT said no. But for as big as this match was booked and billed, I felt like this should have been no commercial, because that commercial in the middle kind of took me out of the match, where it's like it comes back to a commercial and I'm like, oh, wait, what's going on again? Oh, okay, Wardlow's in control now. And then the other thing that I didn't like was how much they focused on Brandy, Arn, and MJF at ringside. Now, the first time when they did that, with Cody sticking his head out the door and Arn saying, smash him like you did his daddy, smash him like you did his daddy, and then he smacks MJF, that was fine, one time. But why'd they have to do more? Why'd MJF have to climb the cage? Why'd Brandy have to hit him with the belt, or with a chair? Why did Arn have to throw him into the crowd? Like, I thought that took away from the match itself, from what we were supposed to see. Cody and Wardlow inside this cage. Why did we need to take the focus off of that and put it on these three at ringside? One time, enough, because Cody was still kind of involved with that. It was the whole hit him like he did his daddy. But they didn't need to do the second part, because that was a good 2-3 minutes that they, maybe not 3 minutes, but 2 minutes they took away from this match. That's like, why? Why? They didn't need to do that. I get MJF's at ringside. I get Brandy, Arn at ringside. But they didn't need to be focused on it all. They just needed to be there and shown that they were there. And I think that, like I said, I think that took away from this first cage match. That and the commercial break. So Cody hits a high kick early. Wardlow no-sells it. Here's my other thing. We finally see Wardlow in gear. And to be completely honest, muscle-wise, he's no bigger than MJF. He's taller than MJF, height-wise. But size, muscle, I don't think he was any bigger than MJF. So why are we supposed to think that he's MJF's muscle? Why are we supposed to be scared of Wardlow? Because he's taller? So like I said, Cody started this off with the high kick and Wardlow no-sold it. Wardlow hit a lariat, then lawn darted Cody into the cage. Cody bladed along his ring hairline. You could tell the way it was right along the hairline. When he was bleeding, you could tell it was a blade job. Wardlow then hit some clubbing forearms during the final commercial break. After the break, Cody made a comeback and hit a Cody cutter. Then 10 punches in the corner. Wardlow hit a low blow. Then something resembling an F5. It was like a whirly bird flop, spin, throw kind of deal. I don't even know what you would call it. Kind of like an F5, I guess. But he spins with it. Wardlow then tossed Cody into the cage door, and the door swung open. And this is where I talked about with Arn Anderson there. MJF approaches the door, and Arn grabs it like, hey, don't do anything. I've got this cage door. You're not going to do anything with it. And MJF yells, hit him like you hit his daddy. Hit him like you hit his daddy. Because there was a match back in the day where Dusty was in a cage match it was against one of the Horsemen, and Arn was at ringside. Dusty put his head out the door, and Arn grabbed it and swung it into Dusty's face. But instead of doing it to Cody here, he hits MJF with it. Cody then gets his bearings and hits a power slam. Wardlow hit a senton for a near fall. MJF then tosses Wardlow the Dynamite ring. Cody hit a low blow. And hit Wardlow with a ring. On the outside, for some reason, MJF starts climbing one of the trusses, one of the scaffolding deals. I don't know why he's climbing. Like, Brandy wasn't chasing him. Arn wasn't chasing him. He wasn't trying to get away from anybody. He just starts climbing. Like, why? So Brandy nails him with a chair. Arn then comes over when MJF gets in Brandy's face, threatening to punch her, and Arn gingerly throws him over the barricade. Inside the ring, Cody hits a crossroads for the first time in this match, and, well, Wardlow kicks out. Cody then immediately climbs up to the top of this 20-foot steel cage. Looks around really quickly, jumps off, moonsault on top of Wardlow, goes for the pin, and, well, defeats him. Cody wins the cage match. He's all bloody. Brandy and Arn get in the cage. Cody climbs to the top of the cage, and MJF and Wardlow retreat as Cody is yelling down to them, "What's my name? What's my name?" I thought it was okay. I thought it could have been better for the first ever cage match. I thought Cody winning with the moonsault off the top was a good finish. Thought it showed how big this cage really is. Crowd loved it for sure. They loved Cody winning. They loved Cody at the top of the cage at the end. I felt like they didn't do a lot here. Wardlow did seem very limited to me. Like he's just got a couple moves and that's really it. But I think he's accomplished what they needed. Now with Cody picking up the victory, he now moves on to, I got it on my calendar, February 29th to take on MJF at Revolution, where you would assume Cody picks up the victory. We got a couple text messages here to read. If you guys want to send in your thoughts, you can do so at 510-906-1341. First text message says, oh, no, it's an Austin Aries question. It says, why was Austin Aries there? We already talked about that. This one here says, after tonight, do you think it was a foreshadowing that Hangman turns on Omega at Revolution? I don't think at Revolution. I mean, I could see it, but I don't think at Revolution. Now, if they lose to the Bucks, then maybe Hangman gets pissed off and turns on him then. But I don't think he turns on him like during their match. If they win, no. If they lose, good possibility. This text message here, let me get it to load. I don't even want to read that one. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I'm not going to read any questions or comments or text messages about Nyla Rose and her gender. I'm just going to tell you that, guys, right now. This person here says, what? I can't get it to load for some reason. Here we go. If it wants to go, come on. Who do you think is more likely to be the exalted one, Lee or Hardy? Probably, if I'm picking Brody, Lee, or Hardy, I don't think either. But if I'm picking one of the two, Brody, Lee, to be completely honest, when I heard that Austin Aries was there, I go, phew, there's your exalted one. But he wasn't there on business. He was there just as a guest of DDP. So I feel like Austin Aries would make a great exalted one, to be completely honest. His presence, how great of a heel he is, how good of a talker he is. I honestly think Austin Aries would make a great exalted one. And this text message here, let's load this one up. This one says, what is more likely, MJF defeating Cody or Moxley winning the title from Jericho at Revolution? That's a tough one. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Moxley's winning that belt. Like 80-90%, I'm sure. As far as MJF Cody, like I said, I think Cody goes over. I think there's a chance MJF wins. But that's a tough one. I'm going to pick Cody. Jason Dalton says, hey, Tim, are you going to WrestleMania next year, considering it's in California? I want to, but I'm conflicted. As a fan, I want to go. As somebody who makes their money off of reviewing wrestling, I don't want to go. Because here's my thing. If I go, I know I'll have a great time. I've already got friends that want to go. The same guys I went to WrestleMania with. But if I go, I'm not going to be able to 20, 30 minutes after the show's over, jump here on YouTube and review the show. If I stay home, I can. WrestleMania is usually one of our biggest live streams of the year. So, do I sacrifice that, maybe do it in the next morning, the review, and not get as many views? Or do I not go and just work and review it and all that kind of jazz? Because you also got to think, if I'm there, any news that comes out, I'm going to be limited in how much I can do videos on, if at all. So, like, I want to go, but I don't at the same time. So I'm going to have to think about it. I got a year to think about it. I'm conflicted on it, but we'll see. Chris McNutt, I recommend you at least going to one WrestleMania in your life. WrestleMania is an experience that is great. I've been to a number of wrestling shows. I've been to AEW Dynamite. I've been to a couple random indie shows here in California. I've been to a bunch of WWE shows. I've been to I don't even know how many house shows. I've been to 2 or 3 SmackDown tapings. I've been to WrestleMania. And WrestleMania, just the atmosphere, the feel, the vibe, everything you get from being there with that many people is just, I can't even explain it, to be honest. It's just amazing. Strong Style Ninja, I've never been to PWG. I live 4 hours from LA. So I'm not going to, it's hard to get PWG tickets. I'm just going to say that. So for me, it's not worth putting in that much work to try and even get the tickets and then be like, oh, I can't make it anyways because I'm 4 hours away. If I lived in LA, I'd go to PWG. But living 4 hours away north in Central California, kind of not worth it for me. But with that, this last question here. I got another text message coming in. If it wants to load, for some reason it doesn't. And the text message bin just froze. So, never mind. Can't get that one to load. Sorry about that. Whoever sent in that last text message. But with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here to talk about AEW Dynamite. I want to thank everybody who watched right here on YouTube later or listened on podcast services all around the world like iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you use a certain service for your podcast and we're not on it, let me know. Hit me up either at TimmyBuddy or at PWUnlimited, and I'll try to get us added to the podcast service that you guys do use. So with that, I want to say thank you guys tonight. Thank you guys for everything you've helped us out forever, and continue in your continuing support. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.